Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you, Sangat Ji, for joining us at this Sunday's Sangat of the Divine Night weekly discourse. And thank you, Mandeep Ji and Zachariah, for leading us into meditation, leading us into the Mool Mantra and the Guru Mantra meditation, and for centering our mind today. Throughout the discourse, Sangat Ji, these are our opportunities to merge, to connect with the divine. So throughout this discourse and afterwards, carry on with this meditation, carry on with this recitation. For we're here to develop a relationship, a deep relationship with our divine. And when we come into a Sangat like this, it's a blessing. This is a sign that we have the divine's blessings when we come to remember the divine together as a Sangat. And without these blessings, Sangat Ji, we can't come together. We simply can't find a Sangat like this. The Guru Bani has told us that without great fortune, without blessings, we do not get this opportunity for Sangat. We do not even get the opportunity to remember the divine. So let's make the most of it when we come to any Sangat. What should we do when we come into a Sangat? Sangat is where we come together to remember the divine. It's not just a mere gathering of people. What should we do when we come into a Sangat? First thing is, Sangat Ji, we need to empty our mind of all our preconceptions, all our judgments, all those things that we keep in our mind, all those things that we think we know is true. And then when we come into that Sangat, we need to be receptive to their ideas, take on their values as a Sangat, and then quite simply apply it in our own lives. And we see this from time and time again. There are many who come into a Sangat, but their hearts are like stone. If we come into that Sangat with no intention to bring any change in our life, if we come with that single purpose that we're not going to let go of any of our frustrations, then how are we going to awaken our mind? If we go to the doctor, we go with our illness, but we don't take their advice and take the medicine. It just simply sits on the shelf. How will we ever get any better? How will we ever cure that illness? So when we come into the Sangat, see it searching for life's questions, when we come with all our frustrations, empty it out in the Sangat. Whatever brings you to the Sangat, though, is a blessing. Whether we come for the love of the divine, whether we come because of our pains of this world, whatever brings us here is a blessing. And the worst thing that we could do is just waste that time, waste that opportunity by either refusing to meditate, refusing to concentrate, or just simply coming and leaving with the same conflicts that we had in our mind. Many times we see Sangat Ji, people will come into a Sangat, so they'll go to a church, they'll go to a Gurdwara, they'll go to a mosque. And they will end up leaving with more negativity than they actually came with, because their attention is on absolutely everything else that's going on. Their intention's on to criticize what's happening there, not to empty themselves, not to take on any change in their life. And when we come into this Sangat where we think that we got nothing to change, or there's nothing that we need to develop in ourselves, or we simply just come to pass the time, we're letting ourselves down. We're letting everybody else down as well. And the Guru Bani gives us an example of this. They say, look, you can get a donkey, you can get an elephant, you can get any animal, and you can dress that donkey as much as you want. You can anoint it with sandalwood, which is the example of a ritual, a cleansing ritual. And you can anoint it with sandalwood, and you can decorate that donkey as much as you want. But that donkey is only going to go and sit back in the mud again. In the same way, our mind is in chaos. And if a mind in chaos has no intention to change, You could fill it with all sorts of information, but it will still go and sit back in the blackness of the illusion of Maya, of the five thieves, the lust, the greed, the anger, the pride, the attachments. So this is a golden opportunity. This is a time, our place, where we can talk to the divine collectively together. And this is a blessed moment where we can all raise our vibration, raise our consciousness, and be inspired into greatness. And the thing is, this is why this is important, that when we come into a Sangat, we ride on the vibration of others. So if one person is meditating and vibrating on a mantra, that overflows into the next, that overflows into the next, and that overflows into the next. And so before you know it, collectively, you've created that one vibration that penetrates your heart, but also those around you. Today, Sangatji, I'd like to spend some time talking about those characteristics of those that are totally in love with the divine. Who is that type of person that's experiencing that vibration that we've just spoken about? What does it truly mean to be in love with the divine? And in order to do this, Sangatji, I'll be looking at the scriptures as narrated by Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the fifth Guru, in their Sukhmani Sahib. The Sikhs at the time humbly prayed to Guru Arjan. They asked for such a way, such a method that will unite them with the divine instantly, to break away from the illusions of this world. And what flowed was the fountain that's known as Sukhmani Sahib, which is the pearls of peace. In Sukhmani Sahib, Guru Arjan Dev Ji is speaking to us about those that are totally absorbed in the divine. And Guruji describes the status of those that have risen beyond this Maya, this illusion existence. Those that have risen above this laziness, above the need for our bodily and emotional desires and attachments. Risen above those that feel that this world is what's going to give us answers. What are the attributes of those people who have reached a state of contentment, that reach that full state of Turiya, of Saj, of Jyothepad, where there's no duality, there's no doubt. They're not lost in their individuality. All that they are is the divine, all that they see is the divine, all that they experience is the divine. What is it like to be like that? And how do you get to be like that? This is the crux of what Guru Arjan Dev Ji has spoken about in the Sukhmani Sahib. And in this experience of Naam, in this experience of the divine name, the divine revelation, these saints become the most uncomparable of saints, the untouched saints, as Guru Arjan Dev Ji calls them. Untouched by who? Untouched by the hot winds of Maya, the hot winds of this illusion. These hot winds are no longer attacking these saints who are totally in love with the divine. Guru Arjan Dev Ji chants the following words. Urtare jo antar naam, sarb mein pekh hai Bhagwan, nimak nimak thakur namaskar, Nanak o apars sagal nistar. Let us now evaluate what these precious words are telling us. Aur tare jo antar naam. Those that are absorbed in the Shabad, those that have come to realize that the divine, those that have come to experience the divine, these are the saints that have joined their heart and mind together and live totally in the divine's presence. What's common about these saints is that their life is completely changed. So we recite our prayers and our meditations daily, but until our heart and mind are joined together in that resonance, in that vibration, we won't truly know the divine. There are countless who practice meditation every day, and they're doing all sorts of manifestations and all different practices and rituals. The scriptures state, Laak bhagat jako arada, laak tapi sar tap hi sadha, laak jogi sar karte joga, laak bhogi sar bhog hai bhoga, काट काट वसे जाने थोरा है कोई साजन पर्दा तोरा. Tens and thousands of people are worshipping you in adoration, Guru Arjan Dev Ji tells us. Tens of thousands of people are practicing all different austerities, putting their body in through all sorts of tension and tests and trials in the name of the divine. Tens of thousands of people are practicing yoga daily. And tens of thousands of people are enjoying their pleasures and seeking pleasure. But know this, Guruji is telling us, the divine dwells in each and every heart, but only very few know this. Then they ask the question, is there any friend? Is there anyone who can rip this illusion, this separation, this screen of separation apart from me? In the same way, Sangaji, there are countless of us who will go to the temples, the churches, and mosques. There are countless of us who engage in all sorts of spiritual practices, yoga, meditation, manifestations, everything. The temples are full, the bells are ringing, the organs are playing, the drums are beating. Countless can be found at pilgrimage centers, countless. Countless are those that are worshipping the divine. There are countless those who are researching, studying, talking about the divine all the time. But that soul that's actually experienced the divine, that preordained soul is very rare. Who are those true friends that are united with the divine and can unite us ourselves? And these are those souls that are untouched by the hot winds of Maya, by the turbulent waves of Maya. In other words, they're so drenched in the divine, their only relationship is with the divine itself and nothing else. So Guruji explains it in this way, that there are many people who have boarded the ship of meditation, many of the people have boarded that ship to travel across this world ocean, as they say it. But as we're boarding that ship and we're out to sea, that shore is not in sight. And we're lost in the vast sea of this worldly and illusionary emotions, and we're wandering aimlessly in this sea. Because whilst we're floating around, whilst we're doing our meditations, we're still looking at all the other distractions. We're not following our navigation system that's been given to us by our scriptures, by our spiritual paths. And in that, we're just out at sea, lost. And the Guru said, as long as we're out at sea, until we've found that shore, our boat can sink at any time. Ajo sunao samundra mein, kya jano kya hoye. Your boat is still out to sea, who knows what will happen. The slightest gust of wind can change our direction. The slightest arrogance, the slightest anger, lust, greed, attachment could all just capsize our ship. The slightest distraction. There was a saint by the name of Sant Atar Singh, and he gave this example as well. Because sometimes you're so absorbed in your spirituality, you're flying high like an eagle. But I don't know why, but that eagle flying in the sky, seeing the smallest bit of meat on the ground will come crashing down just to get the smallest bit of meat. In the same way, we're working on our spiritual practice, we're going to the Sangat, we're doing our meditations, but the slightest distraction will get our attention and take us off our path. So just like that ship that's going out to sea and you need to find a corner, you need to find a shore, the saints have said we also need to corner ourselves from this world. Live in this world, enjoy everything in it, but corner yourself, be safe in that corner where you're unaffected by the world and its desires and those things that are going to capsize our ship. So why can't our ship find its shore? Why, after so much meditation, after so much prayer, do we not find our destination? Quite simply because what's sponsoring our prayer, what's sponsoring our meditation, what's sponsoring our spirituality is not the focus that it needs. It's not the dhyan or the concentration that it desires. If we meditate without that inner focus, that inner purpose, that journey is just not going to end. Or we're simply only going to get what we're focusing on. If our prayers are based on materialism, then we surely will manifest that in our lives. Equally, if we're focusing on any insecurity or any fear, and if that's sponsoring what's our general thought pattern, then that's all we're going to recreate in our lives. If we're consumed by that hatred, that's all we're going to see. That's all we're going to experience. If we focus on our meditation, then that's what we will experience. Majority of our prayers are business-like. They're a business transaction. Whatever we manifest will become true in our reality. And this is why certainly what 99% of us do, what 99% of us do differs from what the saints do. Their focus is different. We get everything we want. We get everything that we could possibly ask for without even needing to make that request. The one divine gives to absolutely everyone. So the scriptures have told us, don't worry about the materialism. The divine gives to everyone. Whether you believe in the divine or not, you're still going to get everything you need. You're going to get that shelter, you're going to get that food, you're going to get everything you need because that's how caring they are. But let's not get caught in this maze. Let's find that route map to the divine. Let's follow the path of the saints and see what they've experienced. Let's experience the fruits of their meditation. Let's practice and implement that in our lives. Because until we do that practical implementation, this is just a theory. But let's make that theory into a reality. Once upon a time, Bhai Mardana Ji, who was Guru Nanak Dev Ji's trusted companion, wherever Guru Nanak went, Bhai Mardana Ji followed. And Mardana Ji had a question for Guru Nanak. He says, Guruji, you are the divine on earth. With a mere glance, you can make mortals into angels. Why is it that you do not liberate this universe in just one instance? Why do you not inspire this whole creation to remember the divine automatically? And Guruji responded, Mardana is just simply not the wish of this world to unite with the divine. It's the wish of the world to use the divine, but not belong to the divine. Mardana was confused by this. Why wouldn't we want that liberation? And he asked for clarification. And in this time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji then gave Mardana a spiritual vision. He said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji tells Mardana, there's a man looking at that house. Go and approach him. Offer him liberation and see what he says. Mardana approached this man and announced, you are very fortunate because Guru Nanak has entered your village. The man was ecstatic. He'd heard about Guru Nanak. He'd heard about the greatness of Guru Nanak. And he served Guru Nanak and he served Mardana and provided him shelter. He'd done all their seva. And upon leaving, Guruji promised the man the blessing of liberation. And he turned around and said, oh great Guru, I cannot leave with you now. My children, my family are young. They need me. Guru Nanak turned to the man. O seeker, many times I've offered you this liberation and you've turned it down. In that moment, Bhai Mardana Ji was shown this man's previous lives. And in each and every time, Guru Nanak Dev Ji had visited him. And each time there was a different excuse about why he wasn't ready for this liberation. You see, we become so attached to this world that we continually want to live and die for this world and not for the divine. So, lost in the intoxication of this Maya, even if the divine manifests right in front of us, the question for us is, would we take that opportunity? Let us not make that mistake, Sangatji. This is where even the slightest of a gust of wind will take us off our path. This is where our ship can capsize at any time. Many times I would personally see Babaji Swan Singh Ji, who's inspired us all, enter this house of compassion and grant the needs of everybody around them. But many would just simply be lost in their physical wants and desires. Very rare are those that actually ask Babaji for any direction, any spiritual advice or direction. Babaji would often say, people come to me asking me for this and that, but no one has asked me the way to the divine. And the thing is, Sangatji, now that Babaji's gone from this world, where do we go? Who do we ask? We had such a golden opportunity. Where do we go now? Where our meditation is done as a chore, where it's done as a ritual, where the heart and mind are not present in the devotion, we will not find that shore. We will not find that safety. If it's rooted in pride, we will have that one foot in the world, one foot in that boat. We can sink anytime. So with these words we chant, but then with these words we slander. How many times have we abused those people that are near and dear to us? How many mindless arguments do we engage in just after meditation? We come out of meditation and immediately engage ourselves in these worldly acts of pride and arrogance. Nothing's changed. But those spiritualists who found the divine, what they do is they unpack every single emotion, every single thought. They carefully examine every single experience that comes to them. As the Gurbani says, Rak rak charan tare vichari, each and every step, they contemplate on everything. They don't let any latent desire come into them that will shape their thinking. They guard their words, they guard their mouth, they guard their thoughts, each and every moment. Everything is an outpouring of compassion. They have no desires for anybody else's wealth, nor anybody else's life, nor anybody else's wife, nothing. They desire the divine themselves. And these are what Guruji is calling the untouchable saint. Those that have risen above these vices. They're not a slave to their senses. They've risen above these three modes of Maya. They've reached a state of Saj. Guru Arjan Dev Ji brings us to this state of comfort. They want us to realize the divine attributes of perceptions ourselves. They don't want us to travel alone. They want us to bring ourselves and bring others with us as well. And the thing is, you'll notice a difference, Sangatji. Try it. When that devotion comes from the heart, when you're worshipping for the Guru itself, when you living completely in the presence of the divine and think the divine, you're the one who's singing. When you try to experience it through the eyes of Guru Nanak, through the eyes of Jesus, through the eyes of those saints, those beings, those that have guided you, then that devotion is transformational. How do we know if that devotion has transformed us? How do we know if we've reached that shore? Guru Arjan Dev Ji answers this question. They say, Ur tare jo antar naam, sarv mein pekh hai Bhagwan. In those hearts that the divine resides, wherever they go, they will only see the divine. The divine, they see the divine's hand in absolutely everyone and everything. Every interaction, every thought, every moment, every experience they see as a divine interaction experience. The There was once a saint who had 2 disciples, Sangat Ji. And as traditions dictate, he was looking to find someone, one of his students, that would take on the responsibilities after him, but wanted to put them to a test. He wanted to see which one was absorbed in the divine and which one was lost in the world of illusions. And what he did, Sangat Ji, was he gave 2 pigeons. He gave a pigeon each to these disciples. And the saint gave this one instruction. They were to go and kill this pigeon when no one was looking. They need to kill this pigeon. So what happened was, one of the disciples went, looked around his shoulder a bit, couldn't see anyone, broke the pigeon's neck, killed the pigeon. But the second disciple, nowhere to be seen, no one could find him. Eventually he turns up with a pigeon still alive in his hands. The saint looked at him and said, I gave you an instruction. Kill the pigeon where there was no one looking. He said, Guruji, I tried to do this. When I looked at the pigeon, I felt that the pigeon was smiling at me. Then I went to a dark room and I couldn't do the act there as well. Wherever I looked, I just saw this pigeon looking at me. I saw no one else there, but the pigeon was looking at me. Then I thought the divine is looking at me. Then I went to a dark room and I thought that everybody's looking at me. So I've failed. The saint turned around and said, no, you haven't. You've realized the essence, the truth, that the divine is absolutely in everyone and everything. And everything is an experience of vibration of that one divine. Those that vibrate in this naam and this experience of the divine, their inner conflicts disappear. They have no prejudices. They have no jealousy. They drop their fear. They drop their discriminations. And they see the oneness of all. As Babaji would say, just like the tree provides shade to all, so does the divine provide to all. Babaji practiced this level of compassion on everyone. No one was ever turned away empty-handed. Everyone that was close to them felt that they were the only one that mattered in this world. And this is what it means to see the divine in all. Everyone in this group has come together because of Babaji's blessings. And as Babaji's family, every one person we meet should be met with that same love. Like they're the only one that matters in this world. Whether in work, whether in your personal life, let us all emanate this one love that Babaji showed us, that the Gurus have showed us, that Jesus showed us, that the prophets have showed us, like Guru Nanak would show us. In this way, our meditation will become fruitful, Sangat Ji. We will develop those spiritual attributes that complement our meditation, and they will become our very nature. These spiritual saints that have achieved this, they experience this oneness because each and every second they sacrifice to the divine. What does this mean? That each and every moment, Nimaka Nimaka Thakur Namaskare. What does it mean to sacrifice yourself to the divine each and every second, each and every moment? It means every single interaction you have is an outpouring of compassion. Each and every second that you have is an outpouring of love. Each and every second you're dedicating your mind, your body, your soul, absolutely everything to the divine. And that's how we speak, how we think, what actions we do, absolutely everything. It comes from a core of humility. And without this humility, without this one divine virtue of humility, no other virtues will grow. It's through this humility that this divine flows through us. The saints, those true saints, will never join anybody to themselves. It's all about the divine. The true saint will join you to the divine and no one else. They're not interested about themselves. For Babaji, everything centered around the Guru Granth Sahib. All devotion, all prayer, all service, everything was submitted to the Guru. And in this humility, these saints constantly focus and they constantly live. And they're constantly working on their own self-development, constantly looking at their flaws and thinking, how can I improve? They look at their own demons internally. And in their humility, they would not accept a criticism of anybody else. As Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, Guru Arjan Dev Ji, forgive me, says, Karna sune kahu ki ninda, sabte jane apas ko manda. Their ears do not listen to anything bad, any slander against anyone. But instead they deem themselves as being the worst of all. They look at their own selves. Each and every second is an outpouring of that compassion. There could be no sacrifice without that contentment, without that compassion, without that contentment. I was in Babaji's room late one night. It must have been about 1 a.m. And this man came running in the room shouting at Babaji, shouting. And Babaji just smiled at him as if they were waiting for him to come in the room anyway. And he was shouting, saying, I've got no room for the night. There's no room. Your Sevadars haven't given me a room. Without even thinking, Babaji had automatically started to leave their room and said, come, this is your space. This is your space. I don't need a room. And I immediately looked at Babaji with bewilderment and they looked at me with a massive smile on their face. For Babaji, they lived for the Sangat and they saw an opportunity to serve. And I just saw the rudeness of this individual. And that interaction still perplexed me to this day, Sangatji. Without any effect, without any irritation, without any single bit of annoyance on their face that someone was shouting in your face, Babaji just literally picked up everything and left the room. These are the attributes of those true souls that have risen above this Maya mind. These are the true attributes of those that have reached the state of Sahaj, that contentment. They have risen above the illusion of this world and they totally live in the presence of the divine. And it's these saints that Guru Arjan Dev Ji says, Nanak o abars sagal nistare. That these are the ones, the true touched nothing saints, untouched, and they're the ones who are not only save themselves but save everybody else. These are the qualities of those rare liberated souls, and just by coming into their grace, we also experience the blessings of the divine. Firstly, let's meditate on the divine. Let's make our spiritual practice. Let's silence the mind and its desires and its habits. And when that meditation becomes our nature, Sangatji, we will start seeing these fruits, these gifts manifest. So make a habit, make a fixed time for your meditation. Find that one place to sit in. Follow the authentic rules of that meditation, whatever your tradition is. Whatever path you have, follow it. Follow the teachings of your guidance, the masters, and under their guidance serve the Sangat. Take on their attributes. Those attributes of caring, sharing. Let go of those conflicts of your mind. Let go of those things that increase your doubt. And once you've done this, Sangatji, that's where the beauty of that meditation will start to flow in us all. And will flow in everybody else that's around you. And with these words, Sangatji, thank you for your time and I beg you for forgiveness. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.